And thanks, Caroline. Happy to be here. Everybody, welcome. Nice to be here at Sangha Live. Haven't been here in a while, so happy to teach and share with you some practices and kind of, as we were saying, sort of an expanded sense of how to think about the practice of loving kindness. So we'll start with a meditation and just encourage you to get comfortable, finding a posture that you can sustain for the next 30 minutes. And as you settle in, if you're sitting on a chair, if it's possible to have your feet on the floor, if you're on a cushion, that's fine. You might be on a couch, a bed, wherever you are, as long as it's comfortable, supportive, back upright, if that's accessible to you, but not too rigid or tight. Your hands resting where they're comfortable. And eyes can be closed. And, some people don't meditate with their eyes closed. They prefer to keep them open, looking downward, not too distracted. Just finding your posture and feeling your feet or the base of your body connected to the ground. So just let your attention come to rest in whatever is the floor, the ground. You might notice hardness or pressure, warmth, heaviness. And have a sense of the earth beneath your feet. So not only do we feel the sensations connected with that, we can also feel the earth below us. Not exactly feel, but sense, make contact in our mind's eye with the ground. And taking some deeper, longer, slower breaths. To allow you to come more fully into this present moment. Notice if there are areas of tension in your body, tightness, constriction. Notice your hands, let your hands be soft. Let your stomach area soften, relax. Let your shoulders soften, release. Let your face and facial muscles also soften. Noticing your whole body here present. Another breath or two that's longer, slower, deeper. It's been quite a week for us, for the world. We can come here to find a place of refuge, connection with ourselves, nourishment. Gives us the energy to go out and face whatever we face in life or in the world. We can turn our attention to the sounds around us. The sounds in the room you're in, outside the room, in yourself. Sound of my voice. Listening to the sounds as if you're listening to your favorite music. So just listen, letting the sounds come and go. Not getting lost in a story like I like the sound, I don't like the sound, but simply listening. And then dropping your attention into your body, feeling your body breathing? Where do you notice your body breathing? The rising and falling of your abdomen or chest, expanding, contracting, the air moving through your nose, tingling, coolness, warmth. Let the breath be at its own natural pace, in and out through your nose. And now let's find something to focus on to begin our meditation. We can use our breath in our abdomen, chest, or nose. Or if you like listening to the sounds, that's another really great way to focus, to have a home base for the meditation. Choose whichever is the easiest or the clearest or the one that you typically use. If you're new and you can't decide, just choose something. They all work equally well. And so we can start this practice noticing breath after breath or sound after sound. One breath ends, the next breath begins. And as you do this, you might notice that your attention starts to wander. If this happens, it's completely normal. Start planning and remembering, imagining, whatever you're doing. There'll be a moment you notice it. You can use a soft word in your mind like thinking or wandering, and then softly bring your attention right back, gently. So, as most of you are probably familiar with, this is kind of the basics, staying with your focus, your home base, your attention wanders, you come back. And then you also know that there are, especially if you have more experience, you know there's other things to pay attention to. You can notice body sensations, you can notice emotions, whatever might pull you away from this present moment. If it's in the background, let it stay in the background. If it's really obvious, then turn your attention to it. And we'll just keep coming back again and again. And sometimes even when we practice, we find ourselves really not staying with the anchor, or our home base, but we just open to whatever arises moment after moment in a kind of open awareness. There's a sound, a memory, an emotion. That emotion changes, body sensation, another sound. So sometimes our practice shows up like that without a particular returning to a main focus. But I trust each of you to just follow the organic nature of your practice and to pay attention to what is needed. And just do your best to stay in the moment. And if you're just starting out, the first way that I described, just being with your home base, getting lost in thought and coming back, it's a great way to go. Also keep in mind, can we bring kindness to our practice today? Can you be really, really kind to yourself? And that might mean if you're having a difficult body sensation or emotion, you could bring some kindness right on the spot. It might mean the attitude in which we approach our experience. When our mind wanders, not yelling at ourselves in our head, but just off, bringing back in a kind way, offering kindness. So just keep that in the forefront as you do this first part of the meditation, this mindfulness practice, with the side of kindness, with just a quality and attitude of kindness to the practice. For the last few minutes of the meditation, we're going to do some basic loving kindness practice. So let yourself bring to mind someone you love, or someone when you think of them, you get happy. It feels fairly easy to do, or easy to come up with someone. If there's no one who comes to mind, it could also be someone you admire, that you've heard about, read about. Could be human, could be animal. Let them come to mind. See, sense, feel them, imagine them here with you. And take a moment to reflect on the things you love about them or appreciate in them. And as you think about them and the things that you love, notice what happens inside you. Maybe there's a feeling of warmth or happiness or smile, spaciousness, expansiveness. You can imagine they're here with you, and you can begin to send them these, say, words, repeating my words, or you might have your own words you want to use. You can say, may you be safe and protected. May you be safe and protected. And as you say that, imagine them safe and protected. May you be happy and peaceful. Imagine that they are happy, peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. Have a sense of this person or animal, really strong, vibrant health. May you be at ease. Wishing them ease, well-being. Imagine that for them. And now noticing how it feels inside yourself to wish this person or animal well. Notice what's happening. Maybe you might be continuing to experience some warmth or ease or well-being in yourself. And now let's imagine that they send it back to you. So see if you can be on the receiving end as they send you. May you be safe and protected. If you can take it in. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. May you be at ease. And taking it in and breathing. And noticing what it feels like, and as you take in their kindness. Noticing what's happening inside you. It may be a feeling of kindness. It may also not be. So notice what's here and breathe and sense. You can send kindness to yourself. So just imagine it coming, like pumping from your heart down through your body, or however you want to imagine. If you want to keep imagining that person or animal sending it to you, you can do however you want. May you be safe. May I be safe and protected. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be healthy and strong. May I be at ease. Is there something you want to wish for yourself? Very specific to you, do so now. And as you say these words, as you explore this feeling of kindness, just notice what's happening inside your body and mind. And if there is a sense of kindness, ease, happiness, goodness, just really allow yourself to feel it, to take it in. Let it, let it spread through your body. And if it's not here, and it's completely normal, if it's not here, if you're feeling something else, notice what is here. See if you can allow whatever is here to be here. Even if it's the opposite of kindness or just numbness or not feeling anything, just let whatever is here be here. You can say, for whatever it is I'm feeling right now, may I hold this too with kindness and with awareness. And now just imagine that the kindness goes out from you where you are, out into the world. We'll practice more with this later, but just let it go out from wherever you are, spreading to a world that so profoundly needs kindness right now. And then notice your feet on the ground. Take a breath. Notice how you're doing. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes or end the meditation. Okay, just take a moment to come back. Great. So welcome, and we're exploring today kindness practices, and I started you off, well, we did some basic mindfulness, and then I started you the last, obviously the last part of the practice was a kindness practice, which I'm guessing, I mean, I don't know for sure because I don't know, I haven't worked, some of you have worked with it, but I don't know a lot about your practice, but I'm guessing, maybe you could show me by a nod, is that sort of more or less how you've done loving kindness practice? Is that kind of in the ballpark? Yeah? Or how about this? Like, yeah, that's really familiar, not familiar at all. Yeah. Okay, so we're sort of in the same territory, right? And the reason is that's the way it's taught a lot. I mean, everybody has sort of different versions and different ways of doing it, but that's a good sort of typical way that loving kindness practice is taught. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk a little bit about kindness practices in general, a little about the kind of like contemporary history and modern Buddhist teachings, and sort of the potentiality for a really expansive view of loving kindness. I got started, I'm getting over a cold, so if you hear me like coughing, I'm trying to keep it together here, but I think I should be fine. To send me your kindness. I've been teaching, some of you are familiar that I've been doing a lot of work to think about the ways and different ways of practicing awareness practices. So I did a book a few years ago on what I call the Little Book of Being, on what I call the spectrum of awareness practices. So in the spectrum of awareness practices, when we think about awareness is like, we can use the analogy of a camera. We can have awareness practices that are very focused, like a telephoto lens on a camera, right? So a camera can take a telephoto lens, it can take an ordinary picture, telephoto lens photo, an ordinary picture, or it can take a panoramic lens photo. And what I discovered as I explored my practice and worked with, many, many students over the years is that same with awareness itself, like awareness can be a very, very narrow focused awareness, like just noticing our breathing. It can be what I call investigative awareness. It can be sort of what's happening in my body and mind, my emotions. It can be a more open awareness where many things happen, and a wide open awareness with what I call natural awareness, which is just sort of like a awareness of awareness, right? That's that extreme, that place of that practice. So I was teaching some students at UCLA, and some of them said to me, "Can loving kindness go out beyond this map?" And I said, my first response was, no, it's totally a different practice. But then they kind of challenged me, and I suddenly realized, like, oh, wait a minute, of course. There's lots of different ways to practice loving kindness, and that actually can kind of map up even in a very similar way. So I'm going to just share my screen with you for a moment. I'm going to be doing a few screen shares for this workshop class today. Hold on, just give me a moment. And no, I can't. You never can find it when you need it, right? Okay, so one sec. Okay, again. Okay, so I want to show you this slide, but I gotta wait till all the strange things go away. And then I can click on it. Hold on. Okay, so this is what I'm saying to you. I'm just giving you this like very briefly because there's maybe too much to explain here. But when if you've done any of these practices with me where you do sort of a met, or if you've just done it in your own, more of a focused practice all the way up through this more panoramic lens. When I started looking at the loving kindness practices, I saw they kind of mapped up along the same way. And you're thinking, what is dry? That is, I have no idea what that is. I'll explain to you in a few minutes. There's what I'm calling dry, wet, creative, and radiating. And they actually, in the same way, are sort of narrow practices that expand until we can have these very, very expansive awareness, like loving kindness practices. So what I want to do today is give you a little bit of this map, and there's a lot to say, so it's just going to be kind of a taste today, but how we might think of the loving kindness practices, but also let's just here, we're going to come back to the slides in a few minutes, but let's just talk about loving kindness in general first. So one thing to know about kindness practices, and what I didn't say is that once my students challenged me, I went on a journey of really studying like what different kindness practices out there, and what do the suttas say, and what are the ways it's taught, and how has it not been taught, and I started finding like this whole like massive, beautiful wealth of kindness practices that were really extraordinary that I did not know existed. And so I started, it was actually a really wonderful time for me because I was doing like, months of doing different kind of loving practices, like loving kindness, and listening to people's teachings and really studying it and absorbing it. And I saw that like the idea of kindness practice is you try to generate kindness, and then you try to make it happen. You think of someone you love, you send it to them, then it sometimes happens, it sometimes doesn't, and then you keep trying with other people, and then you start out with an easy person and you go towards a more difficult, and towards neutral people, and then to difficult people, and expand it out into the world. It's a beautiful way to practice. It's simply one of many ways to practice, and they're all rooted in different ways in the Buddhist tradition. And so I'm giving, hopefully today, this is going to like expand your mind on ways to practice. Kindness itself, it's not related. It's not only the purview of Buddhism. It's in every religion. It's in indigenous practices. It's in teachings. It's in poetry and art, and it's part of what it means to be human, right? So kindness, it's, even though in Buddhism they've done a lot of like there's amazing ways of like teaching how to cultivate it. You're going to find it, of course, in every religion. And it's really this aspect of, as I'm saying, of what it means to be human, and even maybe not what it means to be human. So I'm hoping this is going to work, but let me see if I can get this to work for you, because I have a really very cute video that I want you to see. So hold on. It has weird things on the front of it. Give me 1 second while I make sure it's all set to go. No, it's not. Okay, here we go. So my conjecture is, yes, it's part of humans, but it's also, I mean, you've probably watched enough like cat videos and things like that to, oh, the video's not working. Darn. All right, never mind. I can't get it to go. I'll just tell you what it is. It was in the news a couple of weeks ago about this dog in India that fell into a river, and these crocodiles, instead of eating it, saved its life. Did you hear about this? Did anyone see this in the news? It was so bizarre. But basically they were oh, I think it's starting. I can get it to work. Here, you can see it. Okay, here, I'm going to try to share it and see if we can get it to work. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Unexpected. Can you hear it? Driven into the waters of the Savitri River in Maharashtra. Caroline, can you hear it? Can you actually? I forgot to. I'm not sure if I'm sharing the sound.
I can hear it. It's a little bit quiet, but I can just about hear it. Maybe put the captions on if you can.
Okay. All right. So just it's only like 2 seconds. So just take a look. Okay. India by aggressive dogs found saviors and 3 unlikely guardians crocodiles. Instead of attacking the dog, the group of reptiles surprisingly guided it to the safety of the riverbank. These crocodiles were actually touching the dog with their snout and nudging it to move further for a safe ascent on the bank and eventually escape. The scientists wrote in a report published in the Journal of Threatened Taxa, given that the crocodile was well within the striking range and could have easily devoured the dog, yet none of them attacked and instead chose to nudge it towards the bank, implies that the hunger drive was absent. The researchers said they believed that the pup rescue could be a sign of the crocs having emotional intelligence. The curious case of a dog rescued by the group of crocodiles reported here seems more online. Okay, I'm going to stop it. But basically, I don't know why, for some reason, this really captured my imagination that these crocodiles could have eaten the dog, but instead the crocodiles saved the dog. Why am I bringing this up? Because one, they said, some of the research I was looking at, it was saying it's an example of cross-species empathy. That not only, I mean, all right, we're living in a time right now where we're seeing like the opposite of empathy. We're seeing the opposite of kindness. I mean, this is like a time of like, we're seeing people at their most kind of vengeance is like what we're seeing out in the world these days. But here's an example of these animals being caring towards each other in this, very strange interspecies event. So I bring this up because loving kindness is not like we do this meditation practice. Kindness is everywhere. Thomas Merton says our job is to love others without stopping to inquire whether or not they're worthy. That's not our business. And in fact, it's nobody's business. What we're asked to do is to love, and this love itself will render both ourselves and our neighbors worthy. Loving kindness is this inclination of the heart towards an unconditional love, towards this. It's a brightly shining aspect of what it means to be human. It's not being created in a sense, it's being revealed. And that's what these practices do. It exists in all of us. Yes, it can be massively covered up, but it exists in all of us. So what I want to, when we do loving kindness practice, we can do it in different ways. We can do it remember, so I just showed you that graph, that line before. We can do it in ways that concentrate our mind, that work with, that actually heal us. We can use it as an insight practice. We can use it as an awareness practice. And we can use it as a heart practice for the suffering of the world. It can a lot of people have had trouble with this practice. And it's very interesting. I've been teaching, I don't know, 20, 25 years. And I've seen countless people go, I don't like this practice. I don't like it. I just can't connect with it. It feels very fake and when you learn different ways, it's like a different doorway into the practice. So you might go, oh, now I can do it. Now this makes sense. I can just effortlessly, like the crocodile, offer kindness to these dogs. So, that's just kind of a quick overview. Let's start with a kind of kindness practice that you may not be so familiar with. But I wasn't that familiar with. I kind of knew it roughly, but I started researching it and started practicing myself and started teaching it to students and found it to be quite delightful. Some people do not like this at all. And that's another thing to keep in mind. We're going to do a couple of different ones in the next period of time. Some of them you'll do and you'll go, oh, I really like that. And others you'll say, no, I like it a different way. And that's the whole point. I want there to be an expanded sense for people so that you have a whole set of tools in your tool belt and you can go, okay, this one works for me. Oh, this one doesn't work for me. Oh, this one I like doing when I'm angry at a person, but I really don't like to do it as a meditation practice. Like you can mix and match and use them. So if we were to think about this concentrated loving kindness, right? Remember, sorry, I don't want to get too complicated here. We can do a practice of kindness that really is about focusing our mind. That's not about having a feeling as we do the practice. And this one is kind of radical because people think I'm supposed to feel kindness when I do the kindness practice. This actually is a different kind of practice where we're working with thoughts versus working with feelings. So the one I did at the end of that meditation was a feelings-based one. It was like I was inviting you to feel how you feel about that person and how they feel about you and to develop the emotions. And it's actually quite a healing practice. That is as I said, sort of how it's taught quite a bit, but it's not the only way to do it. And I'm going to call it, for the sake of this, like me attempting to categorize things, I'm going to call it wet loving kindness. It's wet because it's sort of juicy, like it can evoke emotions. What we're going to try is dry loving kindness, which is the opposite, which is not about feeling the emotion. It's working on the level of thoughts. It's about it's like changing our inner narrative so that much of the time our inner narrative is, oh no, I'm worried about this. I feel bad about this. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? I'm angry at that person. They're bugging me, right? That's a lot of what goes on in our mind. What we can do with this dry loving kindness, this dry metta, is change it so that we start saying words that are words of kindness. And this is very relevant when we're working with difficult people. Like it might not be easy to send kindness to a politician where we actually feel it, but we might be able to say the words to help us with our inner experience. So it's a practice that if you do it over time, you're going to just be repeating these words and changing your narrative. And we use language that's very simple, like, may I be happy, may you be happy, may we all be happy. So rather than may you be safe and protected and like this whole thing, it's something that you can just repeat over time. And it's like it changes how your mind thinks. And it's very, very interesting. Now, one of my colleagues, Carol Wilson, was once asked, well, isn't it kind of like you're faking it? Like you're going, may you be happy when you don't really feel it? And she said, fake metta is loving kindness, fake metta is better than real aversion. That was her comment. So what if we just try to instill this narrative in our mind that is not dependent upon making ourselves feel something. If we do it and we feel something, it's fantastic, right? It's like, oh, there's a feeling here. That's so interesting, but it's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to work with it on the level of thoughts. This practice done over time can lead to deep concentrated states. So maybe some of you in this room have done what's called the metta jhana practice. Jhana is an absorption of mind. It's where you just repeat these over and over until your mind goes into these like deep states of concentration. So this is very possible. So we do this practice, but when we do it on a day-to-day basis, it's different. Okay, so all that being said, I'm just saying, someone said, I practice loving kindness on the subway or bus. I start with an easy person, then expand it till I've covered everyone in the train or bus. Yeah, so that's a beautiful way to practice, Marita, and it's one of many ways to practice and keep going with whatever you like doing, keep going. And that is sort of my message implicit in all of this, which is do what's going to work for you. So I want to give this kindness practice a try. And I'm gonna share my screen again because it'll help you with it as we get started with it. And we're gonna do a couple of different kindness practices, and they're gonna be like 5-7 minutes each. And then I'm gonna hear from you, and we of course time for Q&A and so forth. All right, so I don't know why I'm having. Oh, here we go. All right. So I'm just going to jump to, these are some quotes that I'm not going to redo. Okay. So when we do this, you see these phrases. This is the ones that I used earlier. May you be safe and protected. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. May you be at ease. With this, what we're going to do now is you can use those if you want. And if you know them and they're very familiar to you, that'll work fine. If you want to keep it really simple for this practice, you would just repeat, may I be happy, may you be happy, may we all be happy. Or if you want a different version, may I be happy, may you be happy, may all beings be happy. In the version we did before, we thought about someone and we imagined them happy and we imagined sending kindness to them. In this, all we're going to be doing is repeating the phrases. If a person pops into your mind, then you can feel free to think about them as you do it, but there's no need to have a feeling or a focus on a person. All right. So I'm going to leave this up just in case you want to look at it during the meditation. It won't be too long, but we'll see how it goes. So settle back, get comfortable. One of the things that's always important about kindness practice is you want your body to be comfortable. We know that it's really hard to send kindness to people if you are uncomfortable. So taking a breath or two to settle. And just doing what it takes to just calm, come back into a space of connectedness with yourself. So we're going to practice this dry kindness, dry metta. And just you can do it by very simply saying these phrases. And when your attention goes away, come back to the phrases. And it may seem dry, like there's no emotion here, but see what happens when you do it in this dry way. It also works really well with walking meditation. So you could even stand up and, well, actually it's too complicated. So just stay seated for now. May I be happy. May you be happy. May we all be happy. May I be happy. May you be happy. May we all be happy. Now, as I say that word happy, if for some reason that word doesn't feel right to you, find a different word. It could be, may I be content. May you be content. May we all be content. Or find another word that works for you. So it's a very simple instruction. It's kind of like a mantra practice. If you've done it, all you're going to do is just repeat these phrases. And if you forget them, they're up here on the slide on the screen. And just repeat them. And then if your attention wanders off, just come back to them. If they feel like sort of nothing's happening, there isn't anything supposed to be happening. It's supposed to simply change your thoughts in the direction of kind thoughts. Okay. So let's give it a try. We'll do like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes just to see what the experience is like in a quick way. Keep going, but the reminder is just have fun with it. Like, what happens when I try this practice? Just be really curious about it. Do I like it? Is it interesting? Is it boring? Is it, hey, my mind is just being kind? Like, what's happening? And now, as we bring this short meditation to a close, notice what your mind is like. Like, what is that? How does it feel? Did kindness come up? Was there actual feelings? There may or may not have been, but there wasn't supposed to be. The pressure is completely off. What do you notice having done this? Notice your preferences. Then we will open our eyes if they're closed and end that part of that meditation. Okay. So this is one way to do the practice. Before I'm going to go on in a in a minute, I'm going to hear from you. In fact, well, actually, let me just say this. I want to just remind you what Caroline said at the beginning, that Sangha Live is a Dana-based community. They receive all of their money from the generosity of people like you. And that's why this fabulous community that I have watched grow for many years and do incredible things is available for you for free every Sunday and for all the many other things they do. So I just want to encourage and remind you that that it's so important to be part of the community through giving back and donation, doing whatever you can. There's no amount that's supposed to be given, just whatever your heart feels. Okay, so what happened? You can put it into the chat, or anyone want to come on screen. What happened when you did that meditation? I'm just curious about your experience. So Mira wrote, I love this. I've been continued to be so beat up by life. All the things going on in your life, sounds like some health issues. It's been pretty much destroyed my ability to feel. So this works. Okay, Mira, awesome. By the way, my daughter's name is Mira. I can say that it's a very relaxed way to do the practice. There's just no pressure. You just say words and see what happens. And I noticed anyway, hold on, my dog is trying to get out of the room. 1 second. So others were saying that it felt calm and focused. The pressure was off. It's kind of like a mantra practice, and it gave your mind something to focus on. Yeah, great. Let's hear from Jane. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to say I found my, let's see how do I say this. I found that it was very different, be happy versus be content for me. And content, wow, was really powerful. And I'll just say, when I was saying it inside, internally, that I was thinking about somebody that is challenging in my life. And it was just like liberating, completely liberating. It was like saying that was like I no longer was pulled into their drama, and I was wishing them contentment with their drama, if that makes sense. So that was really beautiful. I just want to thank you. That was really, as someone that works, I'm a psychotherapist with people that have internal dialogues that are so toxic and negative. I think that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I love hearing that. And I love, so there are a lot of things in what Jane said in terms of like just changing the words a little bit can have a really strong impact. And so you can play with, you could have you could really be, may I be generous, may you be generous, maybe whatever the word is, but that particular word really was meaningful for you. And yes, so many of us have these toxic inner narratives, and it sounds like you're working with people like that. So it's like the simplest kind of most obvious thing in the world, just think something different. Now, not that I know that's not easy to do. There are a lot of people who perseverate and have very intense thoughts and it's not oh, you can just change it by saying, may you be happy. You can't. in that way, but we can incline our mind in that direction and incline it towards shifting the inner narrative. And when you have some practice under your belt, like a lot of you are saying here in the chat, it can really work. So thanks, Jane, for your thoughts on it. That's great. How about, wait, I'm just gonna, well, all right, we'll go to some hands and then we'll go back. Linda.
Yes, thank you. When I was doing this practice, the thoughts and the negative thoughts started to come up. I often have this feeling that of a very negative thoughts coming toward me and then engulfing me or taking me over. And then the body starts to tighten and so on and so forth. And this time when I was thinking, may you be happy, I wonder if the thought actually changes the negative thought, the happy thought wish changes the negative thought. Yeah, does it actually change the negative thought? Or I'm wondering if I'm touching on a way that I maybe need to change my relationship to the negative thought, because I think I'm always trying to make it go away. And I'm wondering how this relates to that. If that's a valid approach, or you see that where I'm headed, I hope.
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
All right.
you know, there's so many different approaches to working with our thoughts. And, you know, some of it is that sort of traditional, like you see the thought and you notice that it's a thought and you allow the thought to come and go like clouds in the sky, right? That's like sort of typical mindfulness. And it's, you know, sometimes it's doable, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we have a difficult thought and we can notice what's happening in our body and it's being fueled by emotions in the body. That's another approach. In the Buddhist teachings, there's a very specific teaching, the sutta, on replacing thoughts. He actually teaches it, a thought replacement, as a way to work with difficult thoughts. And so the idea with what's happening here is it's just, you know, it's just, I don't know where the thoughts go. I guess they're replaced. You know, there's something else that's a little bit more appealing or, you know, easier, kinder, and those thoughts sort of can take over and the other thoughts will subside, because you can't think negative and positive thoughts at the same time. I mean, they can disappear, or, you know, one can emerge in the other, but it's a really simple and helpful practice. And so my point is for all of you is to just try it. You know what I mean? Like, see what happens when you do it. It sounds like it had a helpful effect for you. And it's not like it's not like I'm trying to like make this all about rainbows and unicorns and it's also not about like there's something wrong with you because you're having these thoughts. It's just simply like, let's play with our inner narrative and see what's possible here. And so anyway, so I don't know if I'm getting at what you were asking, Linda, but just to invite you to explore it yourself. Did you want to say more?
A little bit more. I think that I have all these secondary thoughts about, am I changing this channel no, it's not that I'm changing the channel in the right way, but it's almost like, am I killing this off? Am I manipulating my mind? Am I pushing this away? All the varieties of there's an I that's doing this thing to the thought. And you're saying it's really a matter of moving your attention away from one thought to another thought. Is that right?
Yeah, you're not killing off the thought. It'll come back.
Yeah, I know that's a little nuts, but
I'm not suggesting it's nuts. What I'm suggesting is when
it'll be back.
Sorry?
Yeah. It'll be
And
back. Yeah, that's so
the
true.
thoughts will come back, and then you work with them. And then at some point you may get to the root of them, maybe through psychotherapy or journaling, or through, there may be ways that kind of can cut through that, or through deep meditation. In the meantime, when we're dealing with difficult thinking, here is one of many tools. And don't worry about, oh, what's it doing and who's doing it and I, and just try it. And if it relieves suffering, fantastic. Keep going with it. Keep it simple.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to just go to a couple of the chat. There's some interesting things going on here. It made some people calm and focus. They like the pressure was off. It's kind of like a mantra practice. So for those of you who've ever done a mantra practice where you repeat Om, 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 or maybe you did transcendental meditation or something, you have a mantra that you repeat, it does have a similar effect. I hope this helps with aversion towards a family member. Well, you can try it and see, right? Like, I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. May I be happy? May you be happy? May we all be happy? At least in that 1 second or the 3 seconds of saying it, there's some alleviation. But over time, I know, but certainly for me, it's helped. And a lot of students and colleagues say this really helps with people who are difficult. I like that the phrases were very easy to, and by the way, I see you, Lawrence, I'll come back in a minute. I like that the phrases were very easy to remember, and I could spend more time on each one without feeling pressure to move on to the next. That's great. Wonderful. Helped alleviate the mind and charge the mindset, happen naturally. By the way, there may be people here who did not like this practice at all, and you may not be responding or putting it in the chat, and it's totally fine. Like I said, there's many different ways to do it. Mind became quite peaceful and quiet. Not sure this was due to the phrases or the breathing or both, probably both. Gentler self-narrative, more positive and uplifted look on life. I feel like we were all happy together. The trees, the breeze, the sparkling sun, the dog in her grave, and me. Much simpler than I'm accustomed to, still lovely. Okay, so I'm gonna I see more questions, but I want to go to Lawrence and then we'll come back to the chat. Go for it.
Thank you so much. Quick comment and then a question. First of all, as a teacher, giving options is so brilliant and so perfect, because not only does it give the person options, but it encourages, if not challenges, the person to investigate and empowers them to do so. So thank you, because most people who teach metta and teach anything give their preferred tool. So your exploration and giving people many tools and saying, gee, it's not one, it could be any of these. So if I may be so bold as to offer to the previous person who came on, also to just add to what you said, it's a gradual process that you keep repeating whatever one is working for you at the time, or that is most challenging or least challenging, and just keep repeating it. And with our tools of awareness, notice what's coming up. Oh, this is coming up. It's a gradual process. This is coming up. It's perfect for an investigation. So thank you. And what I'm looking at, because the way a lot of Buddhist practices work for me is not through the Dharma, or it's almost through my mind coming to logic, such as I'm causing my own suffering. I'm causing my own suffering. How am I causing my own suffering? And I'm trying to bridge right now what you've offered and mudita. And I have a habit of talking about, when people ask me if I'm still living in the same place I've been living for the last 15 years, I have habitually conditioned said, yes, I'm still living in that crappy 1-bedroom apartment. And I've just been seeing how if I have challenged myself to have gratitude and appreciation, even though I know there are shortcomings, it changes everything. So my question is, how do you bridge mudita and metta? And where do you see them overlapping?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for you said a lot in all your comments, and appreciate what you said. And I'm very big on options because there's nobody's mind is similar to anybody else's mind. So the more possibilities that you have, the more you can find something that will work for you. In terms of mudita, so mudita is usually translated as either appreciative joy, sympathetic joy, taking joy in others' joy. It's, I think it's a fantastic practice, and it's one of my favorite practices. It also can be done in really like simple and creative ways, right? So loving kindness, it's traditionally talked about like loving kindness is the heart. It's an opening of the heart, and then compassion practice. So there's 4 Brahma Viharas. You're all many of you are familiar with this. There's the loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic or empathetic joy, and then equanimity. So it's an open heart, and compassion is an open heart meets someone's suffering. So the phrases are a little bit different, right? That's more when you wish them for the easing of suffering. With mudita, or sympathetic joy, appreciative joy, it's wishing that it's when your open heart meets someone's happiness. So what we can do, the kindness, like I like the phrases for mudita of may your happiness and good fortune continue. May it grow and grow. May it never end. It's really the same opening of the heart, and you can do it in the same way, but directing it more to, sorry, your question, just say directing it more to tuning.
I was listening to someone who was giving mudita options, like you do, and they were using that mudita phrase for the self, which to me was almost like it was sort of wonderful and confusing, because it was really like making mudita into a metta, sort of like, like may I have appreciate. It was like talking about, like I said, for the apartment, challenging myself to appreciate myself and my living situation.
I think that this idea that there are these 4 Brahma Viharas, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, is artificial. They merge into each other, and sometimes your heart opens, and then there's another person. I'm taking in their goodness. Oh no, they're suffering. So I think just allowing yourself the creativity and the permission to look at like what's going to work in the moment. Okay, I'm feeling crappy about my apartment. Is it mudita? No, maybe it's equanimity. May I be with things as they are. Okay, can I be with this? Can I be with life as it is, right? That might be a great practice. You don't have to have joy for your lack of joy. There's not joy about the apartment. But may I open a practice I do is a joy practice. May I open to joy? May I one day open to joy? May I consider the possibility of opening to joy? There's so much, anyway, lots possible here. Does that give you enough to go on, or are you just, okay, great. I want to, I see we're getting close to time. So what I want to do is I want to finish through the chat and then give you a couple of words of like what to go from here. So just in terms of people's feedback to this particular practice, I'll go back to the red heart question. Christian said, I found it quite dry, funnily. Haha. It is dry. It is. Yes. It seemed like a very single pointed mantra without a connection that I'm used to with metta practice. I did play with the words to see how that felt, but it wasn't quite for me. Maybe a 30-minute sit would feel different. Yeah. So this is what I was saying. This this practice can be great for some people, and other people like, doesn't really hit me. So don't worry about it. Do the other ways that you enjoy. Find what is going to connect for you. That's the most important thing. And I'm gonna share some thoughts on that before we go. Henry asks, it's different to just being with thoughts by replacing one track with another. Yeah, being with thoughts is a basic mindfulness practice. The thought arises, worrying, planning, imagining, right? This is actually a thought. It's a replacing thoughts, which is definitely, I forget the name of the sutta. I wish I could remember it. But there's a very specific sutta where the Buddha talks about the 8 different ways to work with thoughts, and one of them is replacing. Carrie said, mind focused and other destructive thoughts were put aside. After a while, my mind put music to the words. Okay, you were not the first person to say that, Carrie. Many, many people do have that experience, that it starts to become like a song, or like a TV station in your mind or something, or a radio station, which I just love. Like, let that radio station be there. It's a lot of fun, and you can sing it. Yeah, you can sing it. So other people were encouraging you to sing, but we're going to not make you do that. But what I want to say is that another way that I really like to do this is walking. So you can time your feet to the phrases, may I be happy, may you be happy, may we all be happy, boom, boom, boom. And I find it very enjoyable to actually, I prefer it to do it this way when I'm walking versus sitting. And then sometimes I just send it out to, like I say, may I be happy? And I sort of hear, then I see a person, may you be happy? And I actually send it to them, but sometimes it's just repeating the phrases. So you can play with it in that way. Can I demonstrate or describe the other methods? Yes, that's what I'm going to do in the next 9 minutes. Yeah, we got a little off track. That is true. All right. So I'm going to just skip through all these things to talk about the other one. So the wet loving kindness we did in the very beginning. So during the 30-minute meditation, the last 5-7 minutes, I led a wet loving kindness practice. Why is it wet? It's called wet because because I call it wet because it's more focused on the feeling. The emphasis is on the feeling. And that's a beautiful way to practice, and it can be a very healing way to practice. It's a we can send it to ourselves, we can send it to difficult people, we can, there's all sorts of ways to do it. It's probably one that you're more familiar with. So that's the second category. I'm not going to spend much time on that because, well, we're running out of time anyway, but because I think many of you are familiar with that. Creative practices are, I've been very inspired by Aya Kemma, who was a German nun who she passed away many, many years ago. But her main, she just came out with a book her students came out of a book about her teachings around loving kindness. And just look for her most recent book. Her name is Aya Kemma, Khema. One of her main students, teaches her method, is called Lee Brasington. And Lee, you can go to his website. I probably should put these in here for you. Lee B. I'm going to just put it, and you go to his website and go to his metta page, and you're going to find, hold on. You're going to find all these different ways of doing loving kindness, doing metta in a very creative way. Imagining there's a jewel in your heart and it's sending kindness out in all directions. Imagining that there's that you're in a lake of loving kindness. I often do that meditation, a loving kindness lake, and all the people you love come into the lake and swim in the lake of kindness. Imagine that you're giving flowers to people. So she's been very influential on me on these creative practices. And if you take a look at his site, go to his metta page, you will find a whole bunch of really fun practices. And then the last one, which I want to do before we end in a very brief way, is what's called radiating or suffusing metta, loving kindness. And this one is This one is actually very aligned with how it's taught in the sutta. So the other types are, actually, I don't think we have time to go into this, but the other types are more commentarial in the Buddhist tradition, whereas the suffusing loving kindness is traditional. So I'm going to quickly share the screen to show you what that is. Hold on. So this is a very famous, very famous quote and part of sutta teaching discourse from in Buddhism. One abides pervading one quarter direction with a mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above, below, around, and everywhere, and to all as to himself, herself, their self. He, she, they abides pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. This is the Anuradha Sutta from the Majjhima Nikaya, 127. Okay, so what is that to say? This is, wait, I meant to, okay, stop sharing. Okay. We're going to try that in the last 4 minutes. But what I will say is I'm going to have a class available on this. I'm working on, it's also a book project that I'm working on if you're interested in more, and I'll just let people at Sangha Live know, or you can join my mailing list at dianawinston.com, or see what we're doing at uclahealth.org/mark, my center at UCLA. So we'll have a class on this if you're interested in going in more deeply, where we really spend time on each one. But what I want to end, someone was asking, how do you radiate it inwards to self? You just do. I'll show you. It's as we send kindness, we want to send it to ourselves too. It's like it radiates out, but it also simultaneously can radiate in. So let's just take the last 4 minutes to try this, and we'll see where it goes. So taking a moment to take a breath and see where you are as we begin this last practice. And checking into how you're doing. And notice if there's a person or a feeling of kindness that is easy to generate for you, like when you think of your dog or cat or something, or just think of someone that generates kindness for you, and think of them, think of their goodness. And now imagine the kindness goes out to the left of you. So just coming from your heart, just have a sense and be really playful and creative. Like, okay, the kindness is just going out to the left of you. And as it goes into the room and it begins to fill up the room, and you might see light or color or image or not, you might just have a sense like it's going out to the left of you and it's spreading out, and then it just goes far to the left. Far, 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 out through your neighborhood, through the city, out, and then imagine it going to the right of you. So just in the room, there's kindness. And you could say words, you could not say words, but just have a sense of the kindness, the goodness, the radiant nature of your own heart. It's already here, it's in you, it's radiating within you, in the left and the right of you. And now it's moving out, right, moving out. Expand it. Take a breath and feel it. And now it's moving in front of you. So just imagine it goes out into the room that you're in. And really play, have fun with this. The kindness, the goodness that is your heart, the goodness that's the inherent goodness of all being moves forward, and then out to the front of you, whatever direction, east, north, west, south. And then behind you, send it out again. So this radiant love, the compassion, the care that is you, out. And then above, in this room that you're in, and then up to the sky, as high as you can imagine, and down below into the ground, into this earth that we need to care for so deeply. And as you send this like giant kindness going out in all directions, imagine that it just begins to touch all the areas of conflict, the areas of violence, the areas of vengeance and discontent in this world. Just imagine it going in and touching and transforming in all directions, east, west, north, south, above, below. It's going to the humans, to the creatures, to all beings. It's reaching out. Animals, the winged ones, the four-legged ones, the fish, the ocean creatures, the humans who are suffering. Your kindness, it just radiates out. And you can do it. The heart is boundless. The capacity for love is boundless. And we so profoundly need love in this time. So sending it out, taking a breath, feeling it suffusing, permeating all beings, all things. And then just come right back, right here, right now. Feel your own body, heart, and mind. Or whatever it is I'm feeling right now. You can say this. Can I hold myself with kindness, with awareness? May everyone everywhere be happy, peaceful, and at ease. So let's open our eyes if they're closed. All right, my friends, this has been so much fun. I'm sorry it got a little, I had way more things to say than I had time for, but these things happen. And we are, why don't we just end by going off mute and saying goodbye, and I'll see you again in the future. Come visit, do other things with me. Thanks.